Most people wait for someone else to set the pace. They look around, take their cues from the crowd, and settle for whatever's normal. But you weren't built to blend in. You were built to raise the bar. Set the standard means you decide the level of effort, discipline, and excellence you live by, no matter what anyone else is doing. It's about walking into every room and making the environment rise to meet you, not lowering yourself to meet it. When your name is tied to a standard of greatness, you don't follow trends. You become the trend. When people hear your name, what comes to mind? Because whether you realize it or not, your name is your brand. It's not just letters on paper. It's your reputation, your track record, the history you've built through every decision, every action, and every attitude you've ever shown. You can't buy a brand like this. You can't fake it for long. It's built over time, one choice at a time. Your name should be a stamp of quality, a seal that says, if my name is on it, it's done with excellence. The truth is, some people's names open doors and some people's names close them. And that's not because of luck. It's because of the standard they've set for themselves. When your name is tied to discipline, reliability, and results, people know what to expect. They know you deliver. They know you don't cut corners. They know you show up. On the other hand, if your name has been tied to excuses, to showing up late, to inconsistency, people don't trust it. And once trust is broken, it's a long road to earn it back. You have to understand your name travels further than you do. Opportunities, partnerships, and blessings have been won or lost before you ever walk into a room, simply based on what people have heard about you. And here's the part that most people miss. Every small action either polishes or tarnishes your brand. Every time you show up early, every time you follow through, every time you give 100%, even when no one's watching, your brand grows stronger. Every time you make excuses, every time you choose comfort over commitment, every time you slack when you think no one will notice, your brand gets weaker. The brand you're building with your name is either working for you or against you. That means your daily habits matter more than your big moments. It's not just about the time you stood on a stage, the time you got the recognition, or the time you posted something great online. It's about the grind in the shadows when no one is clapping for you. That's when your name gets built. That's when people start to know if it's you, it's solid. Think about it. There are names in every industry that command respect, not because they're perfect, but because they're consistent. They've shown up again and again, and every time they've given their best. Their brand is integrity. Their brand is effort. Their brand is excellence. You have the power to make your name stand for the same thing, but it's not automatic. It's a choice. Every day, you're casting a vote for the kind of brand your name represents. And here's the challenge. You have to hold yourself accountable, even when no one else will. Most people drop their standard when nobody's looking, but the greats, they raise it. They understand that if you can hold the line in private, you'll never have to worry in public. Your name is the proof of your discipline. Your name is the receipt for the work you've put in. When you walk into a room, you shouldn't have to introduce yourself for people to know who you are. Your work should speak before you do. Your attitude should speak before you do. Your results should speak before you do. Your name should carry a weight that demands respect without you saying a word. That's when you know you've built something real. That's when you know your brand is unshakable. You have to protect that brand with everything you've got. You can't let a lazy moment, a weak choice, or a bad attitude undo years of work. You can't trade your brand for quick comfort, because once your name loses value, it takes 10 times the work to bring it back. Your name should be your most valuable asset. The thing you guard, improve, and grow every single day. Average is the enemy of greatness. It's the invisible ceiling that keeps you from reaching your potential. And the scary part is, it feels comfortable. Average doesn't hurt enough to make you desperate for change, but it's just low enough to keep you from living the life you were designed for. That's why it's so dangerous. It whispers, you're doing fine, when deep down, you know you're built for more. When you accept average, you stop demanding the best from yourself. You stop stretching. You stop chasing excellence. and you start settling for good enough, but good enough will rob you of your future. Good enough will make you invisible in a world that rewards those who stand out. Good enough will have you watching other people live the life you dreamed of while you sit on the sidelines wondering what happened. The problem is most people get so used to average that they don't even realize they're living it. They call it balance or just being realistic. They tell themselves they're doing better than most people they know, so they must be fine. But comparison is a trap. Just because the people around you have low standards doesn't mean you have to lower yours. You weren't born to blend in. You were born to set the pace. Average is safe. It requires no risk, no real sacrifice. But that safety comes at a price. It costs you your dreams. It costs you the joy of knowing you gave everything you had. It costs you the respect you feel when you look in the mirror and know you didn't hold back. People say they want success, but most aren't willing to pay the price because they're too attached to comfort. You can't have both. You can't chase comfort and chase greatness at the same time. Every time you choose to hit the snooze button instead of getting up, you choose average. Every time you say, I'll do it later, you choose average. Every time you deliver work that's just enough to pass, but not enough to stand out, you choose average. And every one of those choices adds up until your life becomes a reflection of those decisions. Average isn't one big decision. It's death by 1,000 small ones. The truth is, you can't break out of average until you decide that it's not acceptable for you anymore. You have to make it personal. You have to take it as an insult when your effort doesn't match your potential. You have to hate the feeling of knowing you could have done more. That's the fuel that pushes you past the point where most people quit. Raising your standard means you stop asking, what's the minimum I can do, and start asking, what's the maximum I'm capable of? It means you stop aiming for the middle and start aiming for the top. It means you walk into every situation with the mindset, if my name is on it, it's going to be the best. Because when you refuse to accept average, excellence becomes your default. Average people are forgotten. They leave no mark. But those who refuse to accept average, they create something worth remembering. They push harder, they sacrifice more, and they demand more of themselves than anyone else ever will. And because of that, they separate themselves from the crowd. They set the standard instead of following it. They live lives that inspire others to raise their own bar. When you make the decision to stop accepting average, everything changes. You see opportunities others overlook. You find strength you didn't know you had. You stop waiting for permission to excel and start creating your own lane. You stop measuring yourself against people who are content and start competing against the best version of yourself. Leadership isn't a title, a position, or a promotion. It's a decision. Too many people are sitting around waiting for someone to hand them authority, waiting for a manager, a coach, or a boss to tell them, you're in charge now. But real leaders don't wait. Real leaders don't need permission. They see what needs to be done and they step up. They don't ask who's going to do it. They say, I'm going to do it. You don't need a corner office or a nameplate to lead. You don't need an official role to make an impact. Leadership is about influence, and influence is built by action. When you take initiative, when you show up consistently, when you hold yourself to a higher standard than everyone around you, people start to follow, not because they have to, but because they want to. They see your work ethic. They see your consistency. They see you doing more than what's required, and it inspires them to raise their own level. The reason most people never lead without permission is because they're afraid of stepping out of line. They worry about what people will think. They don't want to look arrogant or overstep boundaries. But here's the reality. When the room is full of people waiting for instructions, progress dies. Nothing moves until somebody moves. And if you're the one willing to move, first, you set the pace. You create momentum. You give people something to rally behind. Leadership is not about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about being the one who acts when everyone else hesitates. It's about making decisions when things are uncertain. It's about stepping up when things are messy, not just when they're easy. Anyone can look like a leader when the path is clear. True leaders rise when there's no map, no blueprint, no guarantee of success, just the belief that something better is possible. If you want to lead without permission, you have to be willing to own the responsibility that it comes with it. You can't just show up when it's convenient. You can't disappear when things get tough. You have to be willing to be accountable for outcomes, even if you didn't create the problem. You have to be the one who says, it's on me, and means it. That's what earns respect. That's what separates someone who talks about leadership from someone who actually leads. And here's the thing. People are watching you even when you think they're not. Your coworkers, your friends, your family, your community. They notice how you move. They notice how you react when things don't go your way. They notice if you give your best only when someone's looking or if you do it regardless. Every day, you're teaching people how to treat you, how to trust you, and whether you're worth following. Leading without permission is about influence, but it's also about ownership. You don't wait for the perfect plan because you know it doesn't exist. You start where you are with what you have and you figure it out as you go. You don't let fear of making mistakes paralyze you because mistakes are part of the process. You understand that leadership isn't about being perfect. It's about being present, being committed, and being willing to go first. You have to decide that your standard will not be set by your title or your paycheck. Your standard will be set by your values, your work ethic, and your willingness to act. When you stop waiting for permission, you take control of your influence. You create opportunities instead of waiting for them. You start leading from wherever you are, and that changes everything, not just for you, but for everyone watching you. Talent is a gift, but it's not a guarantee. You can be the most naturally skilled person in the room, but if you only show up when you feel like it, your talent will fade into the background. The world is full of people who had the potential to be great, but never reached it because they relied on talent alone. Talent can get you noticed, but consistency is what keeps you in the game. Consistency is what turns potential into results. The truth is, talent will make you look good for a moment, but consistency will make you unstoppable for a lifetime. It's easy to show up on the days when you're motivated. It's easy to give your best when the lights are on and people are watching. But what about the days when you're tired, when no one's paying attention, when everything in you is telling you to quit? That's where consistency wins. That's where discipline separates the amateurs from the professionals. Consistency doesn't care about how you feel. It doesn't depend on hype, mood, or emotion. It's a commitment you make to yourself that says, no matter what, I'm showing up. No matter what, I'm doing the work. And the more you do that, the more unstoppable you become, because repetition builds habits and habits build results. Every small, consistent effort compounds over time. And before you know it, you've created a gap between yourself and everyone else that talent alone can't close. The problem is too many people get caught chasing quick wins. They want the results now. They want the promotion now. They want the recognition now. And when it doesn't happen overnight, they lose focus. But success is never built in a single moment. It's built in the accumulation of consistent moments over years. Every rep in the gym, every page you write, every call you make, every hour you put into your craft is a deposit into the account, your future. Eventually, those deposits pay off, but only if you keep making them. Talent might give you a head start, but consistency will determine if you finish. There are plenty of people out there with less skill than you who are winning simply because they show up every day and put in the work. They don't let feelings dictate their actions. They don't care if they're tired. They don't care if it's hard. They don't care if they have to sacrifice comfort. They understand that the grind is the price of greatness and they're willing to pay it daily. Consistency builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. When you keep your word to yourself over and over again, you develop a confidence that no one can take from you. You stop wondering if you're capable because you've proven it to yourself 100 times over. You've shown yourself that you can follow through, that you can push through discomfort, that you can stay the course when everyone else quits. That kind of self-belief is priceless, and you don't get it from talent. You get it from consistency. Think about the people who inspire you. They didn't just show up once and disappear. They showed up year after year, project after project, challenge after challenge. They outlasted the talented ones who came and went. They built a reputation for reliability, for showing up when it mattered, for producing results no matter the circumstances. That's the kind of reputation you build when you choose consistency over talent. Consistency isn't glamorous. It's not always exciting. It's doing the same thing over and over again, even when you're bored, even when you're frustrated, even when it feels like nothing's happening. But that's exactly why it works. Because while everyone else is chasing the next big thing or waiting for motivation to strike, you're stacking bricks. And one day, those bricks become a wall that no one can knock down. In every room, in every team, in every environment, there's a standard, an invisible line that tells people this is what's acceptable here. Most people just adapt to it. They look around, see how everyone else is operating, and match that level. But if you want to live an extraordinary life, you can't just match the standard. You have to set it. You have to be the benchmark, the example everyone else measures themselves against. Being the benchmark means you're not satisfied with good enough. You don't wait to see what others are doing before you decide your level of effort. You walk in with your own standard, and it's higher than the one that already exists. If the culture says showing up on time is enough, you show up early. If the culture says hitting 80% is acceptable, you push for 100%. You're not trying to fit in. You're trying to pull everyone up to where you are. When you become the benchmark, people start to notice. Not because you're chasing attention, but because excellence always stands out. They see your work ethic. They see how you prepare. They see that you never cut corners, even when no one's watching. And without you even saying a word, you raise the expectations for everyone around you. Your presence changes the environment because your standard forces others to question theirs. But here's the thing, being the benchmark isn't easy. It means you will often be the only one holding yourself to that level. It means people might resent you, criticize you, or try to pull you back down to average because your effort makes them uncomfortable. You can't let that stop you. Your standard isn't about them. It's about you. It's about knowing that no matter where you are or who you're with, you never drop your level to match the room. You make the room rise to match you. Being the benchmark requires consistency. It's not about having one great performance and coasting off it. It's about showing up at the same high level day after day, whether you feel like it or not. That's how you build a reputation that lasts. People should be able to count on you to bring your best, not just when you're motivated, but when it's hard, inconvenient, or uncomfortable. That's when the standard matters most, when it would be easy to let it slip. And being the benchmark isn't just about skill. It's about character. It's about integrity. It's about doing the right thing, even if no one's keeping score. You can be talented, you can be skilled, but if you're not trustworthy, if you cut corners when no one's looking, you're not truly setting the standard. Real benchmarks inspire because they lead by example in every area, not just in the areas that are easy to display. When you operate at that level, people start to use your name as the measure of excellence. They'll say, do it like them, or match their effort. You become the reference point, the proof that it's possible to operate at a higher level. And once you reach that point, you have a responsibility to protect it. You can't afford to let one lazy moment undo years of discipline. You have to guard your standard like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. When you decide to be the benchmark, you stop following trends and start creating them. You stop looking for examples to copy and start becoming the example. You move from blending in to standing out, from being one of many to being the one others talk about. And in doing so, you redefine what's possible, not just for yourself, but for everyone who's watching you. Setting a high standard is powerful, but keeping it is where the real battle begins. Anyone can have a burst of motivation and decide they're going to operate at a higher level. They can show up early for a week, give maximum effort for a month, or push themselves hard for a short stretch of time. But protecting that standard day after day, year after year, that's what separates the people who just talk about excellence from the ones who live it. When you've worked hard to raise your level, you have to understand that life will constantly try to pull you back down. Distractions will come. Comfort will tempt you. People will encourage you to take it easy or not be so intense. Some won't say it outright, but they'll model it for you, cutting corners, showing up late, giving half effort. And if you're not careful, you'll start to match their energy instead of holding your own. Protecting the standard means refusing to let your environment lower your expectations. The real danger is not in failing once. It's in letting that failure become your new normal. You miss one workout, skip one responsibility, let one deadline slide, and before you know it, that high level you fought for starts to slip. Protecting the standard means being ruthless with yourself when you see it slipping. It means holding yourself accountable even when no one else notices. It means catching those small drops before they turn into a free fall. Protecting the standard also means protecting it from yourself. There will be days when your own mind tries to convince you to relax. It will tell you you've done enough or you deserve a break. And yes, rest has its place, but there's a difference between recovery and laziness. When you've set a standard, you can't let your feelings make the decision. Your habits and your principles have to be stronger than your emotions in the moment. You also have to protect the standard from outside pressure. People will push back against high standards because they expose low effort. Your discipline will make others uncomfortable. They may try to joke about it, downplay it, or even criticize you for being too serious. But lowering your standard to make others comfortable will cost you more than it's worth. Protecting it means being willing to be misunderstood, to stand out, to take the criticism, and keep moving. The longer you maintain a high standard, the more valuable it becomes. It builds your reputation. People begin to expect excellence from you, and that expectation opens doors and opportunities. But that same expectation means you can't afford to get sloppy. Protecting the standard means showing up the same way, whether it's convenient or not, whether the reward is immediate or not, whether people are watching or not. Protecting the standard is about discipline, but it's also about identity. Once your standard becomes part of who you are, it's not just what you do, it's what you stand for. You stop making decisions based on what's easy or what's popular, and you start making them based on who you've decided to be. Every action becomes a reflection of that decision. You don't need to think about whether you're going to give your best. You just do it because it's who you are. When you protect the standard, you send a message not just to others, but to yourself that your commitment is non-negotiable. You prove to yourself over and over again that you can be counted on, that you won't fold under pressure, that you won't let circumstances dictate your effort. And over time, that commitment creates a momentum that no one can take from you.